strange to imagine that one day we're going to be like our grandparents' age.
How would I be a father? Like, how would I raise my children?
We didn't understand each other all the time.
Someone asked me to measure how much I loved you or how much I love. Just, you can't measure that. Hey everyone, so we're starting a new segment on our channel. We found that like we have so many interesting conversations just about our relationship, about love, about our life, about life in general, that we like 99% of the time don't capture on our channel, and we just thought, let's just like put the camera on and just chat and see what happens and see where we go. So yeah, it's a lot more of a low-key kind of segment of our channel, but we want to just have fun and kind of just, yeah, like express ourselves a bit more openly and a bit more deeply. So yeah, probably for the diehards watching this, the 5 diehards that we have.
I mean, these videos might be long, they might be short. This is kind of like a very unfiltered, unthought out conversation. Like, we literally don't know what we're about to talk about.
Yeah. But we're just gonna, I mean, the first theme is growing old together, like, well, not old, because we're like 24.
We just use really grey face cream.
Yeah. I'm actually 93.
You look amazing.
Black don't crack. We've been together for 8 years, married for 4.5 years. We've aged together, so we haven't actually been single adults together. And I think that's quite poignant, I find. What I found is that when you've been with someone for so much of your youth and early 20s, like the time when you do a lot of your growing, you're maturing, like we've become adults together, I found that actually, I forgot what I was going to say. It's quite easy to forget what being single is like. The last time I was single was when I was 16 years old. I've never been a single adult. I've never lived you know, any kind of single life as an adult, and then seeing friends go through it, the dating process and stuff, it's you forget like how much of a norm it is to like just be in love and to kind of have someone that you're journeying with, because that's all I've ever known.
It is strange, isn't it? Because like, what I feel personally, I'm probably biased, but I feel like what we've found is so like unique. The love that we have is the type of love that that I've perceived people haven't really found until they're like reasonably old. The fact that we found our person at like 15, 16, that's kind of crazy. Yeah.
So when we first got together, we'd already committed to each other to say that, you know, we want to be with each other and get married from the start. Like, we'd both got to places in our short lives at 16 years old.
We felt so old though.
Yeah.
Like, we were both really like, well, we felt like we were both really mature 15, 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
We both felt like we were kind of ready for adult life, even though you probably weren't.
No idea. No idea. Personally, I just knew that I didn't want to just date around.
Yeah.
And particularly when I found you, I was like, I don't want to go through drama. I don't want to go through difficult times anymore. Like, I want to know that if I'm going to commit myself to someone and give myself to someone in a relationship, that, you know, it's going to be for good, rather than like, you know, the crux of your relationship being questioned every single time you go through something difficult. I think that's a difference now, because we know we're committed, and from the start we knew we were committed. That everything we went through was always like, okay, how is this going to make us stronger? It was never a question of, oh, we're going to break up, because we'd already said before we even started dating, like before we'd even like, not just started dating, but before we actually said, let's be in a relationship, let's do this purposefully, we'd already agreed to be like, okay, if this is going to be it, then we need to, you know, be committed. And
that's so mad, isn't it?
I can't believe it.
That's so crazy. To look at like 16-year-olds today and you're like, oh my gosh, I was your age when I was ready to be committed to someone for the rest of my life.
Yeah. The thing is, like, 8 years isn't that much, but I think just because the amount of growing you do between the ages of 16 and 24.
So much developing, don't you? Like, your whole, like, well, I know for us, like, our whole, like, minds have changed and developed and grown, and we believe different things now than we believed then. And I guess that's with everyone. Like it's a bit weird if you don't grow. Like that's why I don't get it when people say you've changed, because it's like, yeah, well, I would have hoped that I would have changed. Otherwise, I'd just be, I don't know, stuck and not moving forward.
Yeah, you don't say that to babies, do you? Like, babies aren't going to stay in the fetal position their whole lives, aren't they?
No.
You're always going to grow and change, and changing is important as long as you're doing it for you and you're not doing it. Okay. You just phlegmed all over the...
It just went right to the back of my throat. Real life, guys.
You genuinely just like coughed up loads of phlegm onto us.
Did I actually?
I just saw this like shower of stuff just go.
I think the whole kind of concept of growing old is weird. Strange to imagine that one day we're going to be like our grandparents' age.
Oh gosh, yeah. And then we're going to have grandchildren and all that.
Yeah. Even like the other night, like, we were talking about how a lot of old people are overlooked. Not many people take that much interest in older people, as in like grandparents' age kind of older people. They're kind of like, oh, that old woman, like, you know, did this. Of course she would do that because she's old. Like, they have so many stories. Like, old people have so many stories.
Yeah.
They've lived so long.
Yeah. But it's a good
They're
thing.
like so cool.
I think the thing is, like, society at the moment, it kind of puts shame on the whole aging thing.
Yeah.
And it also, like, with beauty standards especially.
Definitely.
It kind of like, you know, once you get past a certain age or a certain look, you are considered less valuable to society because of the current beauty standards.
It's horrendous.
Terrible.
It is literally like, because we've been brainwashed to think that a certain type of human at a certain stage of life is the most beautiful. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
I think, well, the media has done it. Like,
it is the media.
It's
isn't
such
it?
a massive
It's always
conspiracy.
the flipping media.
Well, I mean, it starts with the media, definitely.
And then it's spread.
Well, it's because
Like
they want to monetize people when they're still impressionable.
Yeah.
So they get you young, like in your early teens. They're pushing these images of women and men who look, you know, a particular way, and then suddenly you're thinking the only people I can see in my eye gate are people who look like that. So that is obviously the standard. That's what I'm having to attain to, and then it doesn't add up because obviously people come in all different shapes and sizes, all different colours, all different expressions of personality, like loads of different things.
Yeah.
And so then, you know, the people who maybe even genetically just naturally fit into like that kind of poster boy or poster girl, suddenly find that they are thrust into the limelight, and then people similarly who perhaps don't come into those characteristics suddenly feel marginalised for no reason. Like, it's nothing they can control. Instead of embracing who they are, they then have to kind of fit into this narrative.
Yeah, definitely goes both ways, doesn't it? Because whatever you look like, sadly, is going to affect the way that people treat you nowadays. Like, whether you're in today's beauty standards beautiful, or if you're in today's beauty standards not beautiful.
It's just,
It's so messed up.
Yeah.
It's so messed up.
Yes.
I was watching this YouTube channel. It's called Skin Deep. It's so good.
Love Skin
I love
Deep.
Skin Deep.
Love Skin Deep.
Actually, was one of the inspirations, I think, for like this kind of style of video on our channel, because it's just so raw and you get all the different emotions and it's not filtered out. There was this older lady on there and she was talking to her granddaughter, and she was saying one of the hardest things that she struggled with is the aging process, and the way that like people have treated her differently as she's got older, because like, when she was young and beautiful, people like really paid attention to her. They were really interested. They were really like, you know, and now like people barely even like, look at her or take any notice of her and stuff. And I never really thought about that before. How that could make an older person feel.
Yeah.
Like they've had the best days of their lives, and now they're kind of there to be put on a shelf and wait till they die.
Yeah.
Like,
it's sad, isn't it?
It's so horrible.
That's the thing. I think also because of the massive gap generationally in terms of technology and how social media has been such a massive part of our world. I mean, we were kind of like, we were on the brink of it. We were like just in it. I mean, people who are teenagers now, obviously, like, you wouldn't have known a life without Instagram or without Twitter, whereas I do remember slightly, you know, when I got my first mobile phone, it was a tiny little brick and had like an orange and black screen and stuff. Like, teens now won't even know that.
So an orange screen?
Yeah, it was orange. It was a Siemens.
Mine was just like black and grey.
Really? Yeah, Siemens. Shout out those Siemens phones. There's little red ones. And then I used to have my friends.
Who would call a phone Siemens?
Not Siemens, Siemens. Like S-I-E.
Well, like plural Siemens.
Yeah. It was S-I-E, so it wasn't as bad.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, my friends used to have the same phone, and we would all like swap the cases. So like, I'd have a red case, my friend would have a blue case, my other friend would have a black case, and we'd all mix and match our cases. So like the front of
cool.
I know, it was sick. It was sick. The front of my phone was like red.
So cool.
The back was black, and then my other friend had it. It was like a, you know, like a friendship bracelets kind of thing. Oh, really? Yeah, we're cool because we're in the same phone kind of zone.
Love that.
It's so funny. We're on the brink of it, and we're 24, approaching 25. Like, people who are teenagers now won't know a life without Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Whereas I do remember a childhood without that.
Same.
But it was
great.
You know, but I do think that's a big gap generationally for people who aren't on social media, who didn't grow up with social media.
Yeah.
To then, I think a lot of young people feel like there is a big bubble around their generation because of the massive technology gap.
Yeah.
Almost to the point where it's like, it's not even malicious. Like, even me, like, I've been guilty of making mistake of just assuming that people who are older than me won't be interested or aren't wanting to strike a conversation with me. Then you realise, well, we're humans, and we're both humans, we're both living on this planet, we both happen to be in the same vicinity at the same time. I'm a 24-year-old man, I'm not like a 12-year-old boy anymore. Like, I can have a conversation with someone who might be 20, 30 years older than me, and that's okay. And I think it's partly me as well, like, buying into this whole bubble and kind of just being honest, like, kind of feeling like, I'm like a young kid, or like I'm still really young, when actually, like, I need to probably embrace my adulthood a lot more. But I do think there is this generational bubble around growing old, and just like have that massive separation. The older you get, the more you're faced with your own mortality, and the more you start to think about, actually, what is the legacy I want to leave? Who are the people I really want to impact? And also, like, in terms of children and family and, things like that, like, I'm starting to think, how would I be a father? Like, how would I raise my children? Which is such a weird thing to think about when, as you come out of childhood and into adulthood, you kind of relish the freedom, and then you start thinking about reverse engineering what you've been through. Yeah. And then thinking about,
how to make it better for your child.
So weird. Yeah.
It's so weird, isn't it? It's just weird thinking about how you'd bring up a child in today's world as well. Like you said before, it's so different. And so much stuff is geared around social media now. Yeah. It's just, there's so much more pressure. Yeah. Like, a ridiculous amount of pressure for young people now comparatively when, like, we grew up and when our parents grew up. Like, it was getting there when we were growing up, but it's knowing how to bring a child into this world and also understand that the world is changing and not be afraid of the fact that the world is changing and try and shelter your child from everything that that's happening around them, but also embracing what's happening, prioritizing and making sure that they prioritize the things that are really important in life, which is ultimately family and love. And
it's the things you can't buy, isn't it? The things you can't quantify.
Yeah.
You can't measure. Like, if someone asked me to measure how much I loved you or how much I love, just, you can't measure that. It's stuff you have to really illustrate with the way you act, and it's stuff that comes inherently from here.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. Society is so focused on the things you can measure, like your career, your money, you know, the things that show that you're doing well. Whereas actually, the things that you can't measure, the things you can't capture, things you can't hold physically, are the things that are actually the most valuable. But unfortunately, because we live in a capitalist society where everything is commodified and everything has to have an inherent monetary value.
And everything's so visual. It's so rare now to hear people say, oh, just look at that beautiful landscape or whatever. Because people are so like...
People will be taking a picture of it, putting it on Instagram, and then other people will be looking at it on Instagram and saying, oh wow, that's amazing. But that person who took the picture wasn't even in the moment enjoying it.
But it's not even like the view that's the full extent of the beauty. It's like it's the gift of like, I don't know, peace that it like sends you when you look at it.
Yeah.
It goes like beyond just the visual, and it's the same with like family. It's not just, you know, looking at your family. It's joy and love and all these like things that you can't like touch but are so tangible, if you get me.
Yeah. I think the thing that I find most interesting about growing and growing old with you and stuff is having someone you're growing with, and then being able to observe growth in them whilst you're growing, which is really, really exciting.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
How we've grown together as well, and like how similar we've grown.
Yeah.
So I feel like when we first got together, we weren't very similar.
Yeah.
We had kind of similar traits in terms of like, oh, the battery's about to die.
Oh no. I have to wrap it up.
Yeah, we had similar traits in terms of we're not very argumentative people.
We're quite introverted, we're quite peaceful, we're quite chilled.
Yeah, you're chilled hippies. We did have different views on things, and we did feel differently about different things, and we didn't understand each other all the time. But I feel like now we've grown so similar, because I guess our journeys have been the same.
Yeah.
Like our trajectories have been the same, so it's and we've been there for each other and helped each other through everything.
Yeah, it's like we've coalesced. It's almost like when you're growing with someone, you're naturally going to grow together and intertwine. Like as you spiral upwards together, you're naturally going to find a natural rhythm.
Yeah.
Together.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah.
Natural rhythm.
I'm just thinking of Jack and the Beanstalk. Just like as the plants are coming up, as the beanstalk's coming up, I can just imagine two beanstalks like growing magically, and like as they're growing in the same direction at similar pace, they'll just naturally intertwine.
Yeah, and when they intertwine, they'll grow stronger
together.
Because they're together.
Oh,
that metaphor.
That metaphor is.
Anyway, our battery is so gonna die, so we're gonna have to wrap this up. But yeah, thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed our little chat. We had no idea where that was going, but yeah, thanks for chatting with me.
Yeah, if you've got this far.
No, you just completely ignored me.
Oh, you're talking to me?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking to them.
I said thanks for chatting with me, and you were like, yeah.
Oh, thanks for chatting with me, beautiful. If you've enjoyed this and you've got to this far in the video, leave a comment down below about what tea you think we're drinking.
Yeah.
What flavour tea do you think we're drinking?
What flavour tea do you think we're drinking? And what type of person do you want to be when you're 70?
Oh, mic drop.
See you later.
Yeah.